Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of the Vinny Eastwood Show, broadcasting from New Zealand, the fabulous, the fluoridated, the allegedly irradiated, but we don't know because they stopped testing for it. And my very special guest is, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her name. I know her last name is Young, and her first name is either Kyra or Kira.
It's Kira.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Ah, yeah, okay. Like Knightley.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But with an I instead of an I.
Now, speaking of which, I wanted to think a little bit deeper here, because we were talking off air just before about psychopathy and whatnot, and my goodness, what a timely discussion. Yeah, I just this morning, in fact, was reminded of this scumbag who stole videos off me and threatened me and intimidated me and things like that. This is like way back in the day, like 2010 or something like that. But he's back and he's uploading my videos again. Son of a wench. And so I just posted up all these videos about him assaulting us.
Wow.
And, it kind of puts things into perspective when somebody's trying to tell you, oh, I want everybody to be free, I want to set up sovereignty, etc. Here's your claim of right, and we're going to get your birth certificate back. Meanwhile, there's a video out there of him assaulting people who are trying to ask him simple questions.
Right.
Yeah. And see, this is how you deal with psychopaths in a way to actually expose them. But what's problematic is that if you expose them, they know that you're doing it, and they come and frack up your life.
Right. Yeah, that is the laundry, isn't it? So the way that I deal with that is I teach people how to see it for themselves. How to tell if the people they're dealing with in their lives are psychopaths or not. That way, and I can speak in general terms and give the people who listen to my show their own tools to do that for themselves. And then, so I don't have all the psychopaths, all of them coming. I'll have a few, but not as many as I could, So that's how I do it. That's my form of insurgency against the psychopath charge. Yeah.
Well, have you noticed that this is actually I think I've actually encapsulated what this battle is. Like, I've been trying to figure out who's on the bad side and who's on the good side, and who's in between. Right. And it's the people that are in between. It's the psychopaths that are on the bad side, and it's the people exposing the psychopaths that are on the good side. More or less, they're sort of like the source, from which all scumbaggery flows forth. Kind of like the John Kerry and the Heinz Corporation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gross.
Because they're all about the source.
I know some people, that's all they'll consume. That's it.
They'll only consume, like, tomato sauce?
Well, just Heinz. If they're having tomato sauce or ketchup or whatever, it has to be Heinz.
All right. What did the... what was it? There was a good joke about this. In fact, I think it might have been on Kill Bill or something like that. There's a mummy tomato, a daddy tomato, and a baby tomato. And the baby tomato, they were walking down the street. The baby tomato starts lagging behind, and daddy tomato goes back there and squishes him, and he goes, ketchup.
I think I've actually seen that before. Recently, which is weird.
When was it from? I forget which movie it was.
I don't know. I don't...
It matters not.
Yes, I don't pay attention enough to know. It's background.
Okay. Well, I think it's kind of like the way I live my life as well. It's just does it really matter? No? No. Okay. Frack it then. Too hard basket. Now, talking about your show, I'd like you to actually plug your website and services and whatnot.
Well, my show is called The Bridge with Kira. It's on the Type 1 Radio Network, which is a blog talk radio show. And Swami Shivanandagiri is my producer. And I'm on Sundays from 2 to 4 Eastern and 7 to 9 Greenwich Mean Time. And basically, it's a meeting place. It's a meeting of minds. I usually interview someone for 2 hours about what they're doing, either an activist or a musician or a writer, a thinker, an artist, and, give people a voice who should be heard. So coming up this coming Sunday, I'm going to have Ted Torbich on, and that's going to be really fun. I really love his rants, and I really get into the way he thinks and his work. So, and I'm going to tell him my UFO experience, which I've never told publicly before. And
okay. Well, I guess we can't get a sneak preview of it now, then, eh?
No. Well, I will say this one thing, because when Suzanne Posel was on my show, she talked about the electric universe theory. And now that I've looked into that a little bit, I think this UFO experience has something to do with that. So I will put that out there. But you'll have to listen to my show to hear the story. And it happened in 1998 in Oakland, California. And I was not the only one there. And I was not on drugs. And my website,
that's very strange for a person in Oakland, California, to not be on drugs.
True, but I am.
I mean, what else is there to do in Oakland?
Oh, there's a lot.
I hear the one guy actually got lost in the airport, and it said like, now boarding for Auckland, and he's like, okay. It was just like, he thought it was weird that he was flying to Oakland, but
Oakland's actually
he jumped on the plane.
City. And there's a lake.
And then he wound up in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because the announcer actually had an accent and was pronouncing Auckland.
Oh,
New Zealand.
Oh my God. Oh, I heard about that. Yes. That's.
Yeah. But it was too late, the plane had already taken off.
Yeah,
He was just kind of like stuck there for like.
Those were the two cities, though. Oh, that's terrible for him. Yes, I did hear that. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
That must have sucked.
He went on it.
Although, it may have come as a pleasant surprise to him. Hey, I'm not in Oakland.
Yeah. It's not that bad, man. Oakland was one of the first places to do medical marijuana and got its nickname 15 years ago as Oaksterdam, because they had a bulldog and all the other types of, places that they have in Amsterdam. They had them in Oakland 15 years ago for people who need it for medical purposes, which is most of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not...
And of course, most of the planet need it for medical purposes, and the rest of the planet need it for recreational purposes.
Right. And who cares what the hell people do? I mean, it's not a crime. It's been criminalized, but it doesn't mean that that's a crime. Nobody's harming anyone. It's not a crime. And that should be changed. And it is. It's in the process of changing. People are waking up. People are like, oh, wow, the data doesn't support your bullshit. So people shouldn't lose their kids and homes over that.
How about that? Law based on stuff that actually is real and is measurable, as opposed to massive amounts of propaganda, just convincing you of something that's simply not true for no real good reason.
When I was in college, this was the early 90s, I met a guy named Jack Harrar. And I had read his book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And in my college, it was mandatory that you take environmental science. So I took that class, and then we had a project at the end, save the world. Like, what would you do? Given the data that they told us about, global warming and crap. And the solution was industrial hemp. Not even marijuana, but if you need it for medicine, that too. But the only reason it was made illegal is to make hemp illegal, which has industrial value, food, fuel, paper, fiber, and cannabis is medicine. So all of those industries that would be not have the control that they have over the world right now, if it's made illegal. So they'll try to figure out a way to, co-opt its slow legalization, and they'll probably GMO it and fuck it up, because that's how they operate. But
well, it's more like taking control of things, because when somebody told me, oh, they made hemp illegal just for the industrial usage, and other people say, oh, they did it for the alcohol and tobacco industry because it's a competition for them, and somebody else goes, no, they're doing it for all the medical things because everybody had medicine in their bag. Another person goes, no, they did it for the cooking industry because almost every single frickin' recipe in a goddamn cookbook in the time of the 30s had frickin' cannabis in it.
Right.
And then I said it's kind of like the 9/11 truth movement.
Right.
There's a number of different working theories. Mm-hmm. Most of they're pretty much all true, and they all happen simultaneously.
Right.
And it was done that way specifically so that people would fight about what was the real causing factor and what was the real reason endlessly, so that they can continue to pull off more shit like this.
Mm-hmm. But yes, it is all of the above. And we do have the evidence. I mean, the DuPonts, they have the patent for nylon. So they did not want for people to be able to continue to use hemp for fiber. They wanted to take over that fiber market. And, and it's the same with agrochemicals, petrochemicals, cotton. They wanted cotton to be the industry. And so, they don't want you making clothes out of hemp, which lasts like a gazillion times longer, and fuel, paper making paper out of trees is killing the planet, but you can make so much more paper out of hemp without having to kill the planet. So, yeah, it's all of the above. Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how the whole cancer, because people are like, we're tired of your chemotherapy with your, 2% success rate. Chemotherapy is killing people. It's not. So why are they still using it?
I think we need to educate children about it. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the New World Order's figured out that if you brainwash one institution, then, one generation, then they'll wind up convincing all the subsequent generations of the status quo. So, I don't know, maybe if we just taught children in school and whatnot that cannabis has all these healing properties, all these industrial capacities, etc., and the reasons why it was made illegal to drive out the competition, etc., then I think within a generation it'd be legal and they'd continue to repeat and parrot that truth, ironically enough.
Yeah, well,
down
I've
through
seen
the generations.
A lot of movement since, 1990 to now. There's been huge movement. And for a while it just seemed like, you think about the 60s and every movement was derailed by COINTELPRO and the CIA bringing all kinds of fucking drugs in to derail people and get them, off on a trip instead of doing what they needed to do to change things the way they really wanted to change things. So, I didn't think it would ever change. Because when I was talking to people in the 90s about this, they were like, you're fucking crazy. You are absolutely fucking insane. I'm like, no, I'm not. This is the truth. And I told people, my first husband was British, and I told people in England when they were like, oh, we know what you're going over to Amsterdam for. And I was like, you will see it decriminalized in my lifetime. Because the facts do not back it up, what they're doing. So the truth does prevail. Sometimes
I don't know about
a long time.
Yeah, it kind of takes a while for it to sink in, and it's just like that with everything. It's just the more you're exposed to it, the more it's repeated blatantly in front of you, the more inclined you are to believe it. It works for the truth as well as for lies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and vegetables with children. That's how you make them like vegetables, is you just keep giving it to them until they eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, you are what you eat. I'm a vegetable. I can't move. Why, bro? What happened to you? Too much Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. They're like those tiny cabbage things. That's what my son calls them. Can I have some more of those tiny cabbage things, please? Smothered in butter. That's another way.
In butter.
That's another mommy trick right there. Butter.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I saw this dude on, it was either Oprah or Ellen or something, one of those talk shows back in the day when I had a TV. And he tried all these hundreds of different health tips. You know how there's like all this health tip, like lose weight doing this, that, and the other, and there's like hundreds of different like little things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he decided that he would take a year off work and write a book about trying every single one of them.
Wow.
And one of the things that I found was particularly interesting was how to get people to eat vegetables when they're previously used to a high sugar, high fructose diet.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what you do is when you're steaming your vegetables or you're cooking them or roasting them or anything like that, you just sprinkle like a teaspoon or a tablespoon, depending how much you're cooking, of brown sugar over it. And then what happens is the taste buds start to think that what they're eating isn't like, ooh, yuck, vegetables. It starts to think, they're actually quite tasty and sugary. And then after a few meals or so, they found that you actually gain a taste for the vegetable itself, and you completely forget about the sugar, and then you can stop putting it in.
Well, I didn't have that problem. I was fed vegetables like my whole life. My mother, as I got older and older, her garden got bigger and bigger, and she's got a farm now, so I always ate vegetables. And my mother is a Southern cooker, and Southern cooking is like you have your meat, and then you have your 10 vegetables that you picked from the garden. It's country Southern. So I didn't have that problem, and that's how I've been doing it with my son as well, is just from the beginning, just giving it to him. But that's a good trick. If I get someone stubborn that won't eat my vegetables, I'm going to do that.
And also another one that you found out with sweetness, when you taste it in your mouth, your body automatically gears up for the reception of it. So he's found that you can actually lose weight by gargling sugary sports water and then spitting it out.
Oh, because your body makes everything to burn it off, but you're not getting it.
Your body thinks, oh my God, whole bunches of sugar and energy are on its way, and then it starts going into hyperdrive, just preparing for it.
Right.
And if it doesn't come, then it's burnt calories unnecessarily, and all you've done is gargle and trick your body into thinking that there's something sweet on the way.
Yeah.
Sort of like in the same way Barack Obama does to the American people.
Right. Exactly. Here's a bunch of promises I'm never going to keep. Vote for me. Yeah.
Can you remember in your lifetime a single president that kind of delivered on all his promises, or
No.
any of them, for that matter?
No. So why did we think
I can't remember a prime
minister
doing it.
Why did we think it was different this time?
Because he was black.
Well, right. I was hopeful, man. I had that hopey changey bug.
I heard that was an Indian tribe that got wiped out.
Let's hope not. But yeah, I had
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. Yeah.
But that was it, basically. You look at a country and you're like, man, I'm really fed up with the elections and whatnot. All these old white guys always getting elected and always breaking their promise. Oh my God, here's a relatively young black guy. Surely this is different. Surely.
Seems legit, right? No.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think that he's a psychopath. I think he's a puppet. I think anybody who gets into that has to, have made a deal with the devil to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
and they'll do it again
patriotic.
with Hillary. They'll do the same thing. It'll be replace black dude with woman. And they'll play the same trick on us. But I'm not falling for it this time. No, I am not.
Well, I think. Well, maybe the difference between you and the rest of your American brethren is that you remember what was said.
I do.
What was promised.
I do.
Okay. Other people, I actually was arguing with some people in New Zealand. New Zealanders love Barack Obama. It's ridiculous. You see Barack Obama 08 bumper stickers on cars in New Zealand driving around sometimes. I'm not kidding. The dude is a worldwide globalist government kingpin, philanthropist, frickin' god as far as people are concerned. And they don't know anything at all that he's done or hasn't done. They know nothing.
Right.
I had an argument with a dude who's like a student in training at a university or something like that, typical, I know everything because I haven't had any life experience or ever had a job or been able to think to myself because I've always been in an institution my entire life of people telling me what to say and how to say it and how to get good grades. And so he's arguing with me about the great things Barack Obama has done and the great laws that he's passed. I asked him, well, hold on a second, great laws that he's passed, name me one that he passed. And he's like, See, you can't even name a single thing that he's done. The only thing that you remember about Barack Obama is, oh, hope, oh, change, oh, he won the election. Wasn't that great? Therefore, everything he's done since then and subsequently has been great by proxy, right? Even if he's signed documents that allow Americans to be executed overseas without trial, allowed indefinite detention, appointed himself a dictator, or, you know, all of these things. None of these people have any idea.
Yeah, and, you know, well, in America, everybody knows that Obamacare is his big baby and what he was doing. And, you know, the fatal flaw with Obamacare is that insurance companies are the fucking problem. They're the ones that drive the price of health care up so high that, you know, we can't afford it. And we get the worst outcomes and we pay the most for it. So he kept insurance in the picture. They should have been thrown out of the picture. That's because the insurance companies wrote the Obamacare Act. Right. Exactly. And you know, the corporations do write their own bills. That's how it works. You know, that's how slavery works today, is corporations are running the show. The government can be the big enemy, but they're not really, you know, the ones calling the shots. It's actually corporations that are calling the shots, and the government is the big shield of the corporation. So.
Well, the government ensures that corporations can have a monopoly because corporations can't just, you know, Vinny Eastwood monopoly. I'm going to monopolize all TV and radio in this country. It's going to be all Vinny all the time. I can't do that. You know why? Because I don't have the government with guns in my back pocket.
Right. Right. You're not Jimmy Savile, you know? So, yeah. You can't do that. You don't have royalty and government backup. And corporate backup.
An Albany all the time media blackout. Man, that would be so funny.
That would be hilarious. We would want to see it. We would want to see it.
It'd be like on They Live, you know, when they hack into the TV series and everything and give everybody a headache because they're too used to being frickin' brainwashed by a manipulative signal and whatnot, that as soon as somebody starts speaking the truth to them, it makes them sick and upset.
Right. Well, that is the truth. I mean, that is the way most people are. They just cannot handle it because it's a lot to really, you know, fully take in and just be like, holy shit, you know. So, yeah, I mean, most people are, that's truth right there. Most people cannot deal with it because it's a lot to deal with.
And if you want to get more of Kira's truth there, would you please check out your website for the listening audience?
Oh, it is kyoung4.wordpress.com. It's called Psychopaths in Charge. That is my blog, and I have a like page on Facebook for my radio show, and it's called The Bridge with Kira.
We'll be right back just after the break.
I live out in the wilderness, so my only option for internet is satellite.
Yeah.
Which just fucking sucks, because they have data usage limits, which they're going to do for everyone soon enough. That's coming down the pike. Data usage limits for everyone. That's how they're going to limit what we can do on the internet. So satellite companies are already doing it. You pay out the ass and you get hardly any data usage limits. And I'm like, well, listen, I can't stream videos. I can't do my radio show. I can't. And they're like, well, we don't advise that. I'm like, well, fuck you, you know, because that's why I have the internet. There's really no other reason for it besides what I'm trying to do. which you're advising against. Wonder why. Yeah.
Those fuckers.
Yeah. Dish Network, my friends. Data usage limits, and they're going to do that to cable too. They're going to do it to everyone because they can. Yeah. Because they're big corporations and they can fuck you and get away with it, and not the good kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But
I did an interesting video about feminism the other day. It was like, what if masculinists behaved the same as feminists? And he had this video of this chick going through all these Hollywood things talking about the objectification of women. Mm-hmm. And then a dude going on all about the objectification of men and turning them merely into punching bags or something to be killed during the course of a film. Right. And I was like, what he was saying was that because this is also the case that men are being treated like objects in film just as much as women has, that the feminist has no point. Right. And what actually occurred to me is that both men and women are being turned into objects in the filmmaking business so that people don't see each other as human anymore as part of the transhumanist agenda.
Yes, absolutely. all human life is being devalued. All life is being devalued. That's the only thing that's sacred. And so, the agenda of the control grid, what that's all about is taking your humanity from you. So anything that does that, devalues life and takes away your humanity, is part of the control grid. That's how we tell what it is. That's how we begin to make sense of it. So, anything that does that to you, you have to try to minimize or, get rid of all contact whatsoever. And unfortunately, it's everywhere. So you have to find the best way that you can still, feed yourself and your family and make a living and just celebrate life as much as possible and be a part of it. So I grow my own food as much as I can. And I live out in the wilderness because I like to hang out with animals. Birds in particular give me a lot of joy. So in the morning I get up and I drink a cup of coffee and I go out on my porch, which is basically a wildlife sanctuary, and I hang out with the
my God, you totally just reminded me that I have a cup of coffee in front of me. I was like, why am I feeling so exhausted and finding it difficult to hear Kyra ride? Oh my God, not enough caffeine.
Yeah, so I love my morning caffeine, and I sit out there and I hang out with the hummingbirds the hummingbirds are on a different level. They move so fast that modern science can't measure how fast their wings are going. And native wisdom says that they go so fast they can fly between worlds. And it's like that. They just show up like, and they're just there. And from what
they're really cute too, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. And tiny, just little tiny, and their little eggs are like the size of jumbo Tic Tacs. They're amazing.
So cute.
And you only find them in the Americas. North and South in America and the Caribbean. That's the only place you find them in the world. So I imagine you haven't seen one in real life.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I've been taking films of them as well, so that people could, who don't get to see them, get to see how magical it is, the way they move and the way they behave. And I've captured their little mating thing that they do, where the female sits below the male and the male just flies in this arc up and down above her over and over, like really super fast, like a wave. And yeah, these are the things that I get a kick out of because it's life. It's what's important. And that's how I balance what I'm doing in cyberspace, which is basically just trying to share what I've learned of the piece of truth that's been revealed to me, which has to do with psychopaths and the control grid. And I got into, my whole blog was really inspired by Thomas Sheridan's work. My blog is called Psychopaths in Charge, and it's kyoung4.wordpress.com. And I started that in November 2013, and Thomas saw it, and he started sharing it, and people started reading it. And then I called into his radio show, and he interviewed me about my experiences with a female psychopath who was my boss and who targeted me and destroyed my career and my reputation. And he was one of the only people I could find that even really talked about female psychopaths. And I've read every single book I could find on psychopaths when I finally figured out what she was. And there was nothing. And academia and the experts out there who study psychopaths, they all study criminal psychopaths. And so the data that they have is skewed because the vast majority of psychopaths are not criminals. I mean, they're criminals, but they're not caught criminals. They're running things. They're in charge. And that's why our whole our cultures are so heavily influenced by this particular brand of pathology because they're running things. They're not the most extreme version is the rapist serial killer, and that's all you see in the media. So that's all people really associate with being a psychopath. And so you say somebody like, Dick Cheney and who's an obvious psychopath, right? You say that and people are like, well, no, he's running things. And he just is responsible for hundreds of thousands of people dying in war, and he made money off of it. It doesn't get any more evil than that.
We'll be right back just after the break. Yeah.
So
I can't wait to go out on a protest. I had this great idea, just take my megaphone out and have a big sign that says, quit your job, start protesting. Real ironic, just scream at all the cars passing by, because normally when the cars pass by and you're protesting, they tell you to stop protesting and get a job.
Yeah, that's true. We get a bunch of these Benghazi nuts on bridges that hold up big signs like a bunch of fools. So.
Benghazi nuts?
Yeah, we get a lot of them around here. Benghazi freaks? Yeah. They're all on Benghazi.
I didn't know that there was a...
Yes, there's this move. It's a really, a wingnut brand of Tea Partiers that stand out on bridges with these big signs that say, remember Benghazi, and they think it's a big conspiracy. It's all a big conspiracy. Benghazi is just, nothing. It's, what the fuck are you doing? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. But maybe that's just the way they saw through things is Benghazi, so they're just stuck on it, but I'm not going to stand out on a bridge for it. Fuck that. Yeah. Weird.
Well, the thing is, I found that with protesting now, it's pointless standing out something, waving a sign. It's only got a point to it, really, if you stand out, hold the sign, and film yourself doing it, and record yourself talking about it, and then post it on YouTube.
That's the formula. That's the formula right there.
I mean, just go do something, but by all means record and publish you doing that something. Right. Otherwise, it's just you doing something and nobody fucking hears about it, and then you don't do it again because you don't get any fucking feedback. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much, Kira, for joining us today, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening.